So, Lauren, we're seeing the gun grabbers going into full gear. Let's just play a couple pieces of tape here. Let's go to, I haven't even heard this one yet, Joe Scarborough. Let's go to cut 52, and you could respond to Morning Joe. Mika and Joe, play cut 52.
They talk about a freedom that they've made up in their own twisted heads because they've been whipped into a paranoid frenzy by the NRA for 25 years. You know, now they're claiming the Second Amendment protects things it just doesn't protect.
And their position, let's be clear, the Republican Party today is waging a war on cops, right? Those cops that you saw in that incredible body cam footage, those cops would probably love to be running in on a knife incident.
Lauren, did we just invent this out of thin air because of a, quote, paranoid frenzy? Your response?
Right, this made-up freedom. I don't think that defending one's life is a made-up freedom. It's right there in the preamble. We have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, or personal property, whichever rendition or whatever version you want to go by. But also, this is an assault on cops. Are you kidding me?
Holy shit. Okay, where do we start? First of all, the document she's referring to isn't the preamble to the Constitution, it's the Declaration of Independence. Second of all, the Declaration of Independence does not say anything about personal property. It says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Third of all, there are not different versions of the Declaration of Independence, there's just the Declaration of Independence. This isn't church, there's no King James version of our founding documents. And finally, and this one's important, so I hope you're paying attention here, this woman is so stupid that I legitimately do not know how she made it to 36. I mean, dear God, read a book. And if you don't want to read a book, then at least don't concoct things during taped podcasts where it's very, very easy to show that, in fact, you're just letting random words fall out of your face with zero knowledge of what it is you're talking about. Which I thought should go without saying for a member of Congress, but, well, here we are. And let's be clear, just in case you thought this was a one-off by Lauren Boebert, just in case you think I'm being too hard on her, and that in reality, she's a well-read, highly prepared member of Congress who knows her stuff backwards and forwards, I present to you the very last hearing that she participated in.
Mr. Allen, based on these statistics, I would like to talk to you about some other things that are going on here in Washington, D.C., specifically an initiative that you led. In November of 2022, you led the charge to reform D.C.'s crime laws. Is that correct?
I chaired the committee that proposal came
You
through.
led this charge, yes, sir. And these changes are now law here in D.C., correct?
Do you mean the revised criminal code?
Yes.
No, those are not the law.
Those are not the law.
The revised criminal code was rejected by...
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I'm talking to Mr. Allen.
Yes,
Mr. Allen, did you or did you not decriminalize public urination in Washington, D.C.? Did you lead the charge to do so?
No, the revised criminal code left that as a criminal charge.
Did you lead the charge to decriminalize public urination in Washington, D.C.?
No, ma'am.
Did you ever vote in favor of decriminalizing public urination in Washington, D.C.?
The revised criminal code that was passed by the council
support
kept it as a criminal offense.
And you support this?
I voted for it, yeah.
You voted to keep it as a criminal offense?
That's correct. The full council did.
We have records that show that you were in favor of removing that criminal offense and allowing public urination.
No,
Is that something that you intend to pursue in the future?
No, the legislation that you're referring to that came from the Criminal Code Reform Commission changed public urination from a criminal to a civil offense. The council then changed that to maintain it as a criminal offense at the request of the mayor.
Thank you. I yield.
So, to be honest, I'm not sure how many times Lauren Boebert can embarrass herself in public before she maybe considers doing a little less talking. In fact, on that specific clip, I actually asked Jamie Raskin, who chairs the House Oversight Committee during which that whole public urination debacle went down, for his comment on this, and let's just say he didn't pull any punches.
It was a dismal, tawdry hearing generally, and it was inevitable that Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene would bring it further into the mud. I mean, of course, they were fresh back from their dramatic visit to the D.C. jail where they went to see the so-called political prisoners, the January 6th defendants. Of course, they never name any of them They never tell you what their names are, because then you would be able to look them up and see what they're charged with.
Yeah.
There are 20 of them that are in there. Out of hundreds, these are people who judges either didn't want to release or they've already been convicted. I think about half of them have been convicted, but 17 of those 20 have either been convicted of or charged with violently assaulting federal officers. And these are the people that they're comparing implicitly to Nelson Mandela, and Alexei Navalny and Alexander Solzhenitsyn and Andrei Sakharov. I mean, political prisoners are people who are in for political or ideological thought crimes against the state. They didn't do anything other than write something or say something that offended the autocratic rulers. Unlike the January 6th defendants who participated in an attempt to overthrow the government, and most of these people were smashing federal officers in the face, spraying them with noxious chemicals, hitting them with poles or Confederate battle flags or what have you. I mean, what an obscenity. Oh, and by the way, they're also in the much nicer facility and have access to computer tablets and 24/7 medical attention. Anyway, so they come in to this hearing and they're all beating up on Washington, D.C. because they think this is, their best political play at this point, and they have no agenda. So they're beating up on Washington. And someone has told her that D.C. tried to repeal the law against public urination, which goes back a century or something. And of course, she got all the facts mixed up. It wasn't true. She refused to take no for an answer. Then people started sending messages around about how her husband, I think, had either been prosecuted or convicted of indecent exposure. And I guess his defense was public urination. And then some people were saying that maybe she was trying to defend public urination and not attack it. You're dealing with a Twilight Zone world over there.
And in case Lauren Boebert wanted a lesson in how the government actually works, she might consider asking Jamie Raskin, who was a constitutional law professor before becoming a member of Congress, or more realistically, she'll just keep going on conservative podcasts and rewriting the Declaration of Independence to pretend that it was written about AR-15s. But at the risk of spending this entire video making fun of Lauren Boebert, as tempting as that is, I should also note the massive disservice that she's doing to her own constituents. Keep in mind, Lauren Boebert has failed to sponsor a single successful piece of legislation during her entire time in Congress so far. She hasn't introduced a single bill with bipartisan support, and instead of doing anything to actually, rectify this and get something done for once, she does things like posting videos of her doing cartwheels in the halls of the Capitol after a school shooting that killed 3 9-year-olds. Your tax dollars hard at work. Consider too, Lauren Boebert had the worst performance for a Republican House member in the 2022 midterm cycle relative to the lean of her district. And instead of trying to moderate herself, she doubles down on the insanity, doubles down on the extremism, doubles down on the theatrics that led her to eke out a win with only 546 votes in a district that has an 11-point Republican lean. Anyone with half a brain would take that as a wake-up call, but Lauren Boebert apparently took that as a mandate to do more of the same. So if Republicans want to empower people like this, we should let the rest of the voters in America, people who overwhelmingly support common sense, popular policy positions, know exactly what they get when they cast their ballot for Republicans. Because it's not the fiscal conservatism and states' rights and family values that the GOP pretends it is, that they brand themselves. It is the far-right, extremist, unqualified provocateurs like Lauren Boebert. Before you go, a quick announcement. I've started a Spanish YouTube channel. Democrats desperately need to be able to appeal to Spanish-speaking audiences, so this is me doing my part. To help that channel get going in the algorithm so that we can finally start spreading our progressive message and breaking the conservative stranglehold on Spanish-speaking media, please subscribe and watch a few videos. The link to that channel, called Brian Tyler Cohen Espanol, is right here on this screen. And of course, to see more of my content in English, make sure to subscribe to this channel as well. The link is also right here on this screen. Thanks so much for watching.